So guys, I hope you can see that. I don't know if you'll see this bit before or after what I'm talking about with other Spudomatic, and this is the sort of thing I'm thinking, and I'll show you obviously one at quail cage and what I've done in greenhouse, what I would change. But this would be what I could change if I could. This would be sort of design I'd do for the one behind the outside at greenhouse for my lates. Now I've done 4 buckets. This is actually to scale. Them buckets are the right size. That is a scale of 2 meters. Yeah. I used 2 meter lat to do my original ones. Now I'd probably try and squeeze 5 buckets in, not 6, but 5. I'll just try and outline it a bit better. I'll sort of go over it with this. You could also go for a A-frame, you know. This is like a half A-frame because it'd be going up against that wall, and I can secure it, or to the back of that piece, and I can secure it where my grapevine is. But I'm gonna have one like that. I'd have one like that. Now, my buckets, I'm talking, are a foot by 10 inches. 10 inches? I think it's 10 inches. No, they're 30 centimeters by 25 centimeters. So yeah. So I'm going to do an A-frame like that. Reason being is I'm going to come out. That again is the width of a bucket, where I've gone straight up or back at quail cage. Yeah, and tried to tilt, and I've tilted my buckets out. These would also be tilted out. Now, doing a frame like this, it's going to have to be braced this way. Yeah, and my bottom bucket's going to be on floor. My second bucket's going to be slightly tilted. Yeah, and so on and so forth. Reason I slightly tilt them is one for sun, and obviously it works better for the one that's going just straight up and down on quail cage and in the greenhouse. But the other reason is that the new buckets I put on it when I built it this year, I put the hole in the middle. The other buckets, some of the mixed buckets what I've got on, but I put the hole in the middle, not so that it drains from here, because what I wanted it to do, and it worked. If you imagine, that's your bottom, that's your bucket. Because the hole was here, it retained a little bit of water here. Not a lot, just a little bit. But that helped with the watering, because the ones that had retained water with the little holes in seemed to do a lot better, because they just had that little bit of reservoir if we had a dry patch, and it wasn't like the plants were using it. It were obviously evaporating off and wicking up through there. It weren't a big pool of water that were constantly there. So that's one thing. And what I'd want them to do, because I would be on a watering system, so I've got to have them far enough back so that the water will run down and drip into that bucket, run down, drip into that bucket, run down, drip into that bucket, or drip into that bucket from there. Yeah? And I say, I've done that to scale just so I can give you an idea. Second thing is, like I said, I've got 4 buckets in here. I could only get 4 buckets on quail cage, but I would like to that little bit more, right? Although I'm saying I'd put 4 in here, I'd put 5 in here, just for that little extra bit of space between here and here. Because if they are overlapping slightly to get them drips, then that extra space just allows a little bit more light, depending on how extreme you want to tilt them. But the problem with extreme tilting is your soil level goes like that, so you lose your soil. So you've got to work out an happy medium on tilt and an happy medium on the distance. I haven't worked it out for 5, I just worked it out for 4. I've drawn it here with 5 in. This is just another quick idea. So you've got 5 buckets, yeah. You've got to have a brace across front here. Everywhere there's a bucket, yeah, which means I'm trying not to get in front, but I can't. I'm lefty, so you've got to go that way. That's for your bucket to sit on. You've also got to find a spot then for your bucket handle to connect to that'll give you the right tilt. I mean, I'd have to work all this out. I'd work it out as I'm building it. I mean, that's how I am, but it's nice to have a little bit of a drawing. But this is what I'm thinking for next year for that one. I would have a 3rd piece up the back like that there, and I'd probably just go for a brace across like that to support that, to stop that from bowing, give it some extra strength from there to there. And you could have your A like that, wouldn't you, again braced in several places to stop that from going like that. So I was speaking to Harold. I know a couple of people have mentioned that they think of building something like it, but again, you could go, if you were doing completely freestanding, you'd go for an A-frame, and then you'd have to sort of possibly go like that so that you've got that. You could go wider. I've only gone here from there to there is the width of a bucket, 30 centimetres. It's enough for me, I think. If you could go 50, you could go half a metre. I mean, that's 50 centimetres from end to end. But that would be my ideas with that. I hope this isn't turn out too long, but I thought I'd try and explain it better to show you what I'm doing, because like I say, that works. It retains a bit of water. I will put more watering system on mine. If I've got, 24, there'll be 30 buckets there on that one if I go 5i. If I've got 30 buckets there and another 24, watering by hand's not an option for me. You can see it's emptying, and you can see how this is built. This just goes straight up on back at coil cage, yeah. Now, like I said, I would have liked to have gone higher, but I didn't have the space for the spread, and I also did it so that I could put the hook and the bucket bottom front one above on the same lap, yeah. I had one on bottom, 2, 3, 4, you've seen it, yeah. But if I could have, which would have mean putting more lats if I wanted to put them lower, but I couldn't anyway due to height of that roof. That's one thing that I'd change if I were building it and I didn't have this to contend with, yeah. Show you one in greenhouse. So this is what I did in here. Now, I did the same thing, look. I can put the bottom of that bucket on and hook it onto that. The bottom of the next bucket goes there. This is how much space I've got here because I built this inner frame and that frame, and that just brings that forward a little bit so that can lean. So it gives me more actual light, yeah. I would have liked a little bit more, but like I've said, you have to be careful when watering. What I've found is that I've put a divot here and a divot here when I've planted them, so that when I water it from back and it soaks through that from the back, because otherwise, because it's a greenhouse, this stuff gets agoraphobic on top and the water will run off and not into the bucket as much. So that's something to bear in mind. The half A-frame would only come out to there, so the front of my first bucket would be about here, and they'd step back and they'd all get more light, but I'd have to set it up so that, like I said, when it's watered, the water drips into the next bucket below. Mine will have a watering system on it, because what I'll do, I'll bring it through the greenhouse out that wall around that corner, because that's where it is, that's where it would be, will be, possibly be. So that's how that works. But say, I just thought I'd show you that design. I've got 5 more buckets to put in here. I'm thinking that I might not put the bottom row on, so I can put 2 at bottom row one on that end and one on that end, but I don't want them to cover them carrots. I want them carrots to get as much light as possible. I've just come in just now to do this. Breaking news, breaking news. See how white that is? And how white that is? I'm not seeing any following, like I said. But how white that is and how white that is. And then, come to this. Get it in, sorry. That looks like it's pinning. I might have to change my plans and get some straw boiled. But that definitely looks like it's pinning. I don't know whether... I put it over, I think it's pinning. After all that excitement about pinning mushrooms, possibly, I did forget to mention some of these buckets are now on the 3rd crop this year. They had potatoes in, some of them had radishes in, some of them had cucumbers in, the basil. They're the buckets that are out here. Some of these are ones that also had radishes in, so these are on the 3rd crop. Them 5 buckets that are outside are on the 3rd crop this year. Depending what goes on over the next few months in here, it will be mostly salad, but that will be the 3rd crop out of them buckets, same buckets this year. All I did is top them up with some more compost and added chicken manure. So that's pretty good, isn't it? That much space. If you imagine just the one behind the quail house, that's 1 foot by 6 foot. It's 6 foot long and 1 foot out. You know? And that's a lot of food for a little space, providing you keep a pump water in. And you've got your transplants ready to fill it up. One thing I did forget to mention, there is another option on your build. If you notice, my buckets go straight up, yeah? You could stagger them like bricks. That'd also probably give you more light. I might try that on this one. The only reason I haven't done it on the Spudomatic is when you come to end, you lose a bucket, yeah? So I've maximised the amount of buckets by going straight up. Same in greenhouse. That might be able to be altered slightly just by moving me wood out. I might have got space there to do that, which then I'd still get the extra bucket on, but that would possibly give more light. I might actually just try and do a test, but anyway, I'll leave you to it. Oh, don't look at that. Spoiler alert, there'll be 2 more videos on that. One on Friday and then one on Sunday when it finished working and lifting stuff. Nice to be nice.